am Rapid, and with me is Egad, and we're out onto the Rift for our third game of the night. I was about to say day, but it is, depends on where you're watching from, and if you are watching where it is daytime or wherever you are, you want to appreciate, yes, good morning, good night. I was supposed to throw an afternoon in there either way, but thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys coming in. Scuba Chris finds the Intended in the jungle, and they're going to auto-attack each other. A little bit of a love tap there. Scuba Chris gets a little bit of the worst side of that. Brunch narrowly dodging away there from one of Shifter's spears. 34 AP, a little bit high there with that Doran's Ring start for Shifter. It will be going up against W Pooh Bear, also with the Doran's Ring for a comparable amount of AP there, about 5 less.
Got a comparable 5 less, yes, with that. And he's rocking the Snow Bunny Italy skin, which will be hitting the Summoner's Rift store soon, eventually, on this Christmas, so be sure to check that out. I'm so excited. I just can't wait for these skins to come out. All the vintage skins, I'm so excited to buy them. But now we have everybody backing from the side of Napkins in Disguise. They are going to go to 5-man towards that blue buff side. It is warded there from Daydreaming. Everybody's going to back out. Intended X walking towards his red/blue if he wants to go for that one. And I think we're going to see relatively safe starts from both junglers. And no funny or weird steals coming in from this side. But if Shifter wants to be sneaky, he could look to try to maybe snipe out a red or blue buff with the spear.
Now, this is one of the first games we've seen Team Coast play in a long time where Shifter is not playing Ahri, and at long last, people have figured out that he's slightly skilled with that champion. Bringing out AP Nidalee this time around. We'll see what he can get done with that. It's a double Doran's Ring start for that double AP composition coming out from NID, but it's going to be a little bit different for the way Team Coast want to play things. While they only have one solid AP champion, they have a lot of magic damage ambient from both the support Zyra as well as Corki and Nintendo Dex, of course, in the jungle. So as builds come out, look to see a little bit of extra MR for both teams, prioritizing that over armor, which will consequently make both AD carries very, very key in the upcoming fights. So we do have opening lane matchups completely standard across the board. It's going to be a 1v1. Zion Spartan in the top lane taking on Inox, and while we see his Ribbon all the time, we haven't quite seen Inox's Lissandra just yet.
No, we haven't, and I'm going to be very interested to see that one. He's usually used to playing the tankier top lanes, plays that Nidalee, builds the tanky, a little bit of AP on that one, and he's not running teleport either, so not going to look to make the roam ganks down bot if there's a deep ward that he could TP to, but going to look for the kill potentially up top against Zion Spartan's Ribbon, which is no easy feat in itself, and this bot lane down here, this is an all or nothing for Lucian and Annie. If they can all in and not get out poked, they will be able to pick up the kill and try to snowball that Lucian lead. But if Don't Mash Me and Daydreaming can get some nice roots, some nice plants and seeds to come out there, they will be able to just completely deny Annie Lucian because they don't have the amount of mobility that they would need to escape. We do have Scuba Chris rotating down there while Inox is poking Zion Spartan out up top with the Doran's Ring start that he has in the 2 potions, while Intended X makes his way up towards that top lane.
Scuba Chris and, well, Scuba Chris at least, will take a trip back to base on Aatrox, and starting with one Doran's Blade, probably will pick up boots before his second, and we'll see an Intended X actually stay out on the map. He's full HP, has a much higher sustain through the jungle with those potions. Is coming around behind Inox, no ward coverage. We could see Zion Spartan going in, gets the knockup, actually keeps Inox from being able to use that Glacial Path on out. It's going to try to get away, but with the Ignite down, there's going to be Ring of Frost straight into a Cocoon. Venomous Bite gives first blood over to Nintendo X.
That was really well played by Zion Spartan. Stunned him before he could even get through the Glacial Path, like you said before, and then he tried to flash out with the root, but down bot, there's a little bit of an exchange coming in. Just going to poke back and forth like it should be as the lane. And then a Flash Cocoon from Nintendo X blind into the brush does take Inox to be stunned, and then Venomous Bite to pick up the kill with the help of Red Buff and help Zion Spartan's lane out even more. While down bot, seeing the pushing coming in, just shoving the waves out. As Scuba Chris heads in, does get a knock up onto Zion Spartan. There is an initiation by Nintendo Dex, who does take tower aggro there. Gonna eat an auto attack, gonna eat 2 tower shots for his trouble. And Scuba Chris will be able to get out of there without even having to waste Blood Bow passive.
There's Zion Spartan heading his way back to base. Double Doran's Rings to starts for both top and mid laners on NID. I've yet to see the way Shifter wants to go. Top lane, though, is going to be Ring of Frost knocking up Nintendo X. Was freezing him in place while the knockup came from the Dark Flight in on Scuba Chris. Somewhat anticlimactically, Nintendo X goes up and down the water spout and does wind up getting taken out, evening the kills at 1-1.
Yeah, and a good gank as well as good persistence by Scuba Chris to stay in that lane, and Inox following it up. Ooh, that spear hit W Pooh Bear while he was trying to taking a little drink from the jug. Glebe Glarbu and Brunch, I keep wanting to call him Joel, but they are still holding up this lane, keep it even in CS. Gonna pick up some CS off the plant as well and get some nice gold. But with this wave, actually, they're coming out a little bit ahead in this lane, so they're doing really well in keeping up the farm against Don't Mash Me. And I'm surprised we haven't seen any jungle pressure just yet from either Nintendo or Scuba Chris, just making their rounds up top. And some counter jungling is coming out from Scuba Chris as they steal as he's stealing Wraiths away from Nintendo decks. And nice use of the W, I forget what the ability is called, to help pick up some CS from range.
I'm glad it's not just me wanting to call Brunch Joel. Even my co-caster calls him that. But Don't Mash Me has actually had a relatively difficult time. He's been shoving waves continually under Brunch's turret, but Brunch actually coming out with more overall CS. So a great job lasting under there. Some help from Glebe Glarbu in that area.
Though.
Top lane, the gank coming off, double gank. Nice counter out there. Scuba Chris will have his Blood Well passive popped. Tendude and Zion Spartan looking to get in on there. A lot of mobility, but Zion dangerously low. Will use the Valor out. Inox senses blood, tries to get in there with a nice Q over top. The minions can't quite catch him with that ice shard. Will back on off for now. Shifter gonna jump on in here, throws down the trap, can't get it to land. The Bushwhack stays out on the map. We're looking for a nice little spear to pick up the kill. Scuba Chris, no, not far enough away. 20 P the survival, but yes, young Nubby looking to get out as well. But he's looking to get in more. Flash, body slam comes out. Nintendo looking to go down as well. The barrel misses. There is gonna be the tomb cleansed away from by Shifter. He's gonna be hopping around in the back along with Zion Spartan. Very hoppy team here from Team Coast, but hops coming in from Scuba Chris in that engagement. Really key at getting the initiation, getting the initial kill. Give the 2-to-1 advantage over to NID.
That explosive cast was so close to hitting out there. Inox is going to look to go in on Zion Spartan, gets the spike, gets the auto attacks, but a nice shield away. Is Zion Spartan going to get out of there? He will, and Inox now will be able to keep shoving that lane. He got a blue buff as well in that whole exchange, and is going to use that to keep on shoving out the lane, but they're going to go back, go spend their money. And 2-1 up top is Inox right now, so having a good time up there thanks to Scuba Chris and the roam from Nubby Pooh Bear. A good cleanse from Shifter, though, on the Glacial Tomb to keep himself out and keep safe, but still in the end they made it into a 1-for-none in favor of NID. Well, Shifter finally comes back to lane here. He's got the Chalice going for Nathine's Unholy Grail there, as the same looks to be for Nubby Pooh Bear for some extra MR, as well as some infinite mana to help him shove out that lane. And yeah, just down bot, Don't Mash Me, and Daydreaming just shoving the wave like they're supposed to be and keeping that Corki farmed.
This is a little bit of a divergence from Bishu's way of playing AP Nidalee. He likes to go for both a Chalice and a Tear of the Goddess. You'll probably only see Shifter just stick with the Chalice into Athene's Unholy Grail. As he is level 7, he's probably also going to be looking for an Elixir of Brilliance. We'll pick up a blue buff too. Cooldown reduction just ridiculously strong on AP Nidalee, and as the AP starts to stack up there, 41 currently. We've seen that spike after Shifter goes back, and probably will wait to go back until he has that Athene's Unholy Grail in his pockets, or at least the gold for it, that is. Want to take a look down the bottom lane, where we focused a little bit early on. Haven't really talked about all that much. Lucian will look for the Bloodthirster Rush. It's pretty standard out there, but with Don't Mash Me actually buying a first item BF Sword 2, could see that same build coming out for Corki.
Yeah, we can see Bloodthirsters from both sides. Glover gets caught up by a root there. Some seed damage coming in from the slow plant. We do have Scuba Chris flanking it from the side, though. He's going to look for Daydreaming or Don't Mash Me. Gets the Dark Flight, and a flash from Daydreaming keeps him safe and out of there. That is now a big summoner down for a fairly squishy support.
With Zyra very low mobility right now, Glebe Glarbu 100% has an initiation. He knows that if he goes for a Tibber stun, there's no way Daydreaming can flash away from it. There's really not a lot of counterplay for Daydreaming down in the bottom lane with a pink ward placed there in the river. Glebe's gonna have to make it back, does so. Scuba Chris still waiting bottom lane, wasn't scattered out as the river ward was cleared in time by Glebe. Will back off, start farming his jungle. Nintendo Dex looking for a gank there in the middle lane, throws out the cocoon. Will not land, the spear will connect, chunking out Nubby Pooh Bear just a little bit.
Yeah, and up top, Inox is still shoving out Zion Spartan and using the Glacial Spikes. Gonna see him take a turret shot, actually 2 right there. Zion Spartan does collapse to clear out the wave there with the Broken Wings. We have both junglers hanging out towards the spot lanes. The ping that the brush is clear down there from Glebe Glarbu. As Nintendo Dex is actually going to back off. They know that there's a pink ward in river. He's going to go around that side. He's going to make himself known and try to relieve some of this pressure. But there could potentially be a 3v3 fight about to evolve and break out down this bot lane. They know that Nintendo Dex is there. Gleeglarbu is looking for the sun. There's Dark Flight. Gleeglarbu gets caught out.
Yeah, Gleeglarbu very low, trying to get away. Will look to escape here. Don't Bash Beast Rockets getting blocked out there. Body blocked by Brunch. There's the Blood Well passive out for Scuba Chris. It's Mr. Tibbers tanking up that cocoon there for Nintendo Dex. No kills to come out, but both Scuba Chris and Gleeglarbu make it out with just a sliver of HP.
Yeah, a nice spear from the Dragon Pit actually ended up popping that passive on Scuba Chris, as we did see Shifter rotating down as well as Lovey Pooh Bear. Shifter with blue buff is going to keep on shoving down this lane and farming up. One Lovey Pooh Bear does collapse back in there. Inox is getting really close to taking this turret up top. He actually going to look to dive? No, he pops the Glacial Tomb, does all the damage he can in a front burst towards Zion, but now that ultimate's going to be down, and with blue buff it will refresh a little bit sooner, maybe, but yeah, I'm not sure about that choice.
Inox actually could get stopped here. Zion Spartan face checks into the brush, not damaging him out there in time. A couple of volts down, not only Inox's Frozen Tomb, but also the culling used by Brunch in the bottom lane. Go ahead and push that out. We'll hit the turret, and so it'll be a little bit of CS loss there for Don't Mash Me, who is probably looking for a Bloodthirster of his own, and with Double Golems about to be finished off by Brunch, he should be able to back on off and pick that up for himself with about 1,200 gold in his pocket, and that's exactly what he's going to do. With the bottom lane a little bit out of commission here for NID. You can see Pinkward coming out from Nintendo X to clear out the Dragon. Looks to be a pretty free option, as actually backstopped by XOL, aka Brunch, and with Scuba Chris too low to try for the steal, Team Coast should have a very good try for that. Lovey Pooh Bear a little bit late rolling out the barrel.
Yeah, first Dragon of the game, gonna go over to Coast, some good map pressure and some good objective control coming in from them. They get the first one, and now look to go back to their lanes. Inox is still pushing up top here, got the Seeker's Arm Guard, gonna be looking to make his own, use Hourglass potentially as his first item. Nintendo Dex is clearing out the jungle as Scuba Chris heads up top. We do see roots and stuns coming out from both sides. Glacial Path to get out of there, and that fight will stop happening as Inox was going to go back to base, but then noticed that Scuba was coming top, and potentially could see another 2v1 up top.
Top lane will have to keep an eye on that as Scuba Chris, boots of mobility, as well as no second Doran's Blade, which is usually the build. They're just going to look straight for the dive. You will see Frozen Tomb, still about 10 seconds left on that cooldown. That's going to be key to the dive, and the other thing that's also key to not getting dove is Nintendo X's presence right in time top lane. He has double golems to do. Scuba Chris is going to be motoring his way on towards the mid lane, but with Nubby coming top lane too.
Ooh.
Looks to go.
That harassing the bot lane from Don't Mash Me with those rockets. They're chunking out Brunch there. While up top, they look to get the initiation on Zion Spartan, but he flashes away and Broken Wings his self out of there.
Yeah, flash out there. Zion Spartan was a little bit scared there. He knew the cooldown on Frozen Tomb. That's one thing that Zion is really, really good about, is memorizing every single cooldown that his laning opponent has. Really helps him know when to go in, when to go back out, and something that a lot of top laners do. Inox said that the way he judges cooldowns is more sort of reflexively based on the way that his opponent's playing, and Zion Spartan, very, very technical in that respect. He's going to look for a Ravenous Hydra as his first build. If you guys have ever seen Zion Spartan play, you know that eventually there's going to be a Ravenous Hydra on almost any champion he plays top.
Yeah, whether it's his Riven, whether it's for Nectin, or maybe even his Shen, we always see that on him. We do see down bot here, it's just the farm lane for both sides with Don't Mash Me seems to be taking that little bit of a CS lead, and the threat of the Zyra catch is always there. Scuba Chris is going to finish off his red and maybe looks to rotate down bot, as Shifter does pick up another blue buff for himself. Is currently level 11. Both mid laners have level 2 of their ultimates there. We do have Gragas getting spotted out and pinged out by a ward. Well, Don't Mash Me and Daydreamin just looks to go back onto base, and does he have the makings of a Bloodthirster? Yeah, he does. So Don't Mash Me will have the first Bloodthirster of the game.
Very, very key. Something else that's key that we didn't point out early on is that the sort of kill lane bottom of Annie Lucian was looking to use that first big culling to pick up a kill. The only problem is he used it to clear minions, and the aggression really wasn't there. A lot of good poke from Don't Mash Me and Daydream and kind of stopping that, but at the same time, a little bit of underutilized power there that is just so strong from the level 3, level 4 kind of all-in. In that bottom lane. Back to base, now substantially past there. This is another big power spike for Lucian. As he will recall the base, does have that Bloodthirster, and it's actually Scuba Chris in the middle lane. Went in for a little bit of help there. Not quite what he was looking for, as he almost popped that Bloodwell passive. Everybody...
Yeah, and...
I was just gonna say everybody out of base for NID. It's gonna be, like you mentioned, the double Bloodthirster bottom lane, a lot of sustain, but at the same time, I feel like the Bloodthirster benefits Brunch a little bit more. It's such a huge core item, as a lot of Lucian's skills scale very generously off of just total AD. Zion Spartan gets the knockup onto a Nox in the top lane, chucks it down to about half HP. Very, very aggressive, just has to avoid getting poked out.
Yeah, and now we do see the Athena's and Holy Grail finished for Shifter while Nintendo X is roaming up top here. Gonna look to come in and shove this wave down and maybe get some serious damage onto the turret. Super Chris hanging out down bot. We do potentially have a Flash Gibbers ready for Glebe Globber. He's gonna look to go in, and a Flash of Danger in a split-second response does get away from the Timbers and the Thunder. Diving up top, though. Gonna look to get the Venomous Bite, the Repel to mitigate that aggro. Enoch clears with the Spiderlings, and Nubby Pooh Bear comes up.
Oh, but Nintendo gets blown up underneath the turret. There's actually explosive cask. Gonna get the flash body slam onto Zion Spartan. He's gonna try to turn it around. Gets the wind slash off. One more auto attack, but it's the ignite that's gonna pick up the kill on Nubby Pooh Bear. Turns the 2v1 around. Zion Spartan channeling his inner box up there, not letting anybody come into lane without fear of getting taken down there. I guess I should probably give some credit over Best Driven NA, although whether technically or actually, Mega Zero's turned that around too several times. Mid lane, we're looking at all the bushwhacks in the entire world. Just peppering that middle lane. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bushwhack traps out in middle lane. Shifter has been hard at work putting those down and taking down the middle turret for the first turret of the game, going to Team Coast.
Alright, so Shifter gonna pick up that one. Zion Spartan up top after getting a nice 2v1, picking up a kill for himself and a turret, as now 2 turrets fall down, and that's gonna be a nice little gold spike with the side of Coast, as we see Brunch dodging away from that route there. Glebe Globber has the stun ready. Timber's not available just yet, halfway done with its cooldown. And we do see Shifter coming from behind here, gonna throw out a spear, dodging is the side of Brunch and Glebe, while we do see Nintendo X rotating towards bot. There's 30 seconds left on the Dragon Spawner, and we could see Coast look to push this tier 1. Potentially back off after they see 3 members of Napkins, and then just rotate towards drag.
And that is how you play AP Nidalee. You just go for not necessarily dominant lane control, but just consistent effects on your lane, whether it's laying down those traps, getting them set up, or just consistently poking down that middle turret. The roam top from Nubby Pooh Bear was good for NID, netted them a kill, but lost them that first turret. With the bottom turret about to go down, Coast pushing in, do have the roam coming out. Shifter making his way down to that bottom lane. Finds himself in a little bit of a rough spot. There's going to be Ice Path over the wall. No lockdown on that Nidalee. And that's going to be something that's huge for NID. They have to find a way to either engage onto a very slippery Riven or Nidalee. And that's going to be up to Inox and up to the explosive casts coming out from Nubby Pooh Bear, which haven't necessarily been on point all this game.
Now they have it in Cleanse on Shifter's Nidalee too, something that we did not highlight, but now Zion Spartan is diving at tier 2 and proxy farming the wave, clears it out instantly with the help of that Bluba. And Scuba Chris now getting caught up with the root, does Dark Flight. Are they going to be able to get the kill? The Bloodwell comes out, and the Culling trying to zone away. It gets canceled instantly. Timber stunning 2 members, and Glebe Globber may have just given up his life here for this one, as Venomous Bite picks up the kill from Nintendo. Flash Spear from Shifter doesn't pick it up enough. Flash from Don't Mash Me with the Phosphorus Bomb and Auto Attacks picks up that one, as Brunch could do nothing to help the team there, and that is going to be potentially another Dragon over to the side of Coast, as well as another turret in the bot lane going down.
Yeah, Scuba Chris taken out by anti-aircraft fire. Shot out of the sky is Don't Mash Me will help Nintendo X take down the Coast's second Dragon of the game. With that going down, we can see the engagement top lane. Zion Spartan trying to get away. There's just not enough lockdown. There's Ice Path to follow up into a Ring of Frost. Nubby Pooh Bear does get the body slam off. There's the explosive cast flash out by Zion Spartan. It's on the right side of that. Gets bounced away. Makes it out alive, but not before putting a lot of damage down onto, I guess the minion wave. Farm it between the turret. I was thinking it was onto the secondary turret, but he hasn't actually been hitting that all that much, as he was preoccupied proxy farming, and while that was worthwhile, he's still down in CS, so a really good job by Inox staying even in that regard.
Yeah, and keeping the farm up, keeping himself in the game. He's 3-1, he's got all the kills for his team, so gonna be relying on him a little bit there. I'm gonna see if he has enough money for a needlessly large rod, actually. He does, so can look to pick up that very soon with the Zonias, but Zion Spartan may not be looking to let him go back to base very easily. Blue buff coming in, the CDR is gonna help him chase this one down. Broken Wing, stun! Is he gonna get the red buff applied? He did, there's a knockup from it, and then Wind Slash with Ignite and red buff pick up the kill, as Zion Spartan's Ribbon chases down Inox for an easy kill.
Yeah, cool guys do not look at explosions, and neither does Zion Spartan. Definitely in that category. Pick up his second kill of the game, now 2-0-1 with that Ravenous Hydra completed. Build a very early set of Ionian boots of Lucidity. You usually won't see boots on Ribbons that all look to stack up a lot of CDR, maybe from a Brutalizer instead of that, just because they are so mobile. You can find that CDR elsewhere, but hey, he's 2-0-1. Nobody can argue with what gave him enough CDR, just enough to catch out Inox, chase him down, and give Zion Spartan over his second kill of the game. You'll see a movement by Scuba Chris up to the top lane to try to stop Zion Spartan, who's already taken down this top turret below half HP. Zion's gonna look to finish it. He's gonna dodge away from the Dark Flight, taking up the turret. Could look to still get the engagement onto Scuba Chris. There's the knockup, chugging him down. There's actually no Bloodwell passive, so Scuba Chris in a little bit of trouble. Zion Spartan gonna turn it right back around onto Inox, chugging him down. There is Zanya's Hourglass, Nubby Pooh Bear here as well. How is Zion Spartan going to get out of this one? Shields the Nubby Pooh Bear ultimate almost with the kill. Forced Nubby in a 2v1, blow that explosive cask. Nubby Pooh Bear body slams away, but that is still a top laner down for Team Coast. But making things happen elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, Shifter gonna just keep on pushing that lane, like reminiscent of Zion Spartan, just keeps on soloing, pushing, and now we have potentially a 4-man dive gonna happen here as Super Kiss's Bloodwell's not open. The Flash Timber's coming and doesn't connect. As Daydream flashes it once again and gets out, and that is gonna be potentially a tier 2 bot lane turret going down. Spear's gonna be applied. A lot of harass coming in. Nubby Pooper with the barrels, clear this out as the plant's gonna take that one. Spears from the side gonna be just coming out in force from the side of Shifter, and I think Napkins are gonna have to give up this turret.
Daydream's flashes have been so pristine all game long. He's immediately flashed 2 Tibbers stuns. I think the first one he actually flashed after getting stunned by it, and just goes to show very, very precision timing there. Secondary bottom turret will fall. That is the 6th tower taken down uncontested unanswered rather. By Team Coast is there now 6-0 in that department. Only 1 kill up, but you can see all that global gold piling into their favor, giving them at 9,000 gold lead.
And still that blue buff is active on Shifter. He's going to drop those bushwhacks, going to drop spears, as well as try to do the nidalee jump in response to make it do more damage as she gets further away from it. And going to see some poke be applied by Scuba Chris, but they have a lot of sustain. They have a blue buff in nidalee, and they might just look to back out here and spend their copious amount of gold. But with rockets and spears, they're just going to keep on pushing this one down, keep the waves out, keep wards applied, and let Zion Spartan do his thing. As, oh my god, that chunked Inox to about half HP with 1 spear.
And that's those AP Nidalee Spears really starting to come into effect. It's the death cap after Athene's Unholy Grail completed, and even though no kills have come the way of Shifter so far, he's still an absolute menace. There's actually the culling. Okay, no, that's just a Lightbringer passive used out there by Brunch to try to clear out the wave just a little bit extra. Minions starting to evaporate, and as soon as there aren't minions to hide behind, Nubby Pooh Bear and Scuba Chris, as I guess 2 of the frontliners looking to get poke out there. A lot to start worrying about.
Top lane.
Top lane is once again the dive from Zion Spartan in onto Inox, forces out the Zanya's Hourglass, and look at the knockup, misses it, but with the last auto attack, he's actually going to use the Ignite. Once again, turns around after killing off Inox. That means top turret will look to go down. There's going to be a spear coming in, takes down Scuba Chris into his Bloodwell passive, will revive from that and walk back around. But at what coast? Zion Spartan, top lane, looking to take out that top inhibitor. Nubby forced to rotate up there, and meanwhile, bottom lane, there will be the culling coming out. It's level 2. Not able to slay any vampires down there as Don't Nash Me still pushing into the bottom lane. Barrels continue to come up, the flash engage completely whipping Zion, or Scuba Chris rather, will die. The knockup, 2-man strong there from Daydream, and landing that ultimate Strangle Thorns, very effective. And now with only Nubby Pooh Bear to defend the push bottom lane, Team Coast will crush through their second base turret of the game, and it's actually Zion Spartan, the first to take down an inhibitor in his own lane, as every single lane winning, and now with 2 inhibitors down, Team Coast finally disengage.
Yeah, and with that, they have so much gold in their pockets. They got 2,600 on Mash Me, 17 on Shifter, 14 and 14 on both Intended and Zion, and then even 1,800 in Daydream in his pocket, so that support's going to have a field day with that. And yeah, that was just a perfect siege from that comp that they have. They're going to even steal away a blue buff away from Nubby Pooh Bear, give it over to Shifter, and then potentially they could just force a Baron fight and use the poke potential that they have with Spears and Rockets all day. And even Science Spartan's kind of going behind Navi Pooh Bear and going to look to run this one out. As Weaver does have a stun available, but no flash, and Science Spartan with the Spear Visage and Boosted Lucidity has so much CDR right now. As we look here, we're going to see Brunch picking up red buff, going to pick up the Lightbringer passive, and just go right on through it. We see all of Coast grouping up mid potentially, and yeah, just Nintendo X clearing out the race. Going to see Oracles on Daydreaming to clear out this Baron pick, going to drop some more wards for himself. Has just the Feel of Stone, has double GP10, been stacking that one up for a while. Spear connects with a Scuba Chris, chunks him out for a little bit. And now just going to see them look towards mid and not go for that Baron, as Baron is probably lost so many games for people who were in leads and don't want to see that happen to them. And yeah,
such an annoying team composition to play against. Team Coast, you got to dodge Rockets, you have to dodge Grasping Roots, you have to dodge Spears coming out from Shifter's Nidalee, who's currently sitting at 366 ability power, as well as a lot of penetration in there from Runes and Masteries. And as Team Coast look to penetrate their last lane, pushing down middle, Spears coming out, Rockets as well. There's just way too much stuff to dodge, and especially when you're grouped up trying to defend one objective, just like you saw from Inox, you can't dodge everything. Wave clear is pretty effective, but Nintendo is just going to use those Spiderlings and his body. Also effective, taking up that middle turret, taking it down. Coast looking to take out their last inhibitor of the game.
And they will take it down. That's going to be almost triple inhibitors done, but they're just focusing the Nexus turrets instead. This is going to be the final hold for the side of Naps in Disguise. Unless they can hold this off miraculously, it's going to be triple inhibs down, double super minions per lane, and Brunch getting taken out a half HP with just one spear. That is going to be Nexus open now. Everybody laying into it, and that is going to be game for Coast, who are now 9-0. And
Scion's
just
flashing in.
getting Dobone.
Yeah, will make it out alive, actually. The Valor shielding himself at the very end. Ignite might have killed him, but the Nexus explodes. He's invulnerable, and so is the Lost Column for Team Coast. They make it 9-0 now, as both Coast and Complexity pick up wins tonight, making them, still remain undefeated in NACL. The A's in the wrong place there. But that is going to do it for our third game tonight. Normally we'd only have one more, but because we love you so much, there will be 2 more games coming your way.